We're going to hear from two wonderful people this evening. I think their story very much illustrates the whole ethos of these TIGE conferences, which is that organizational and societal change really begins with the courage of personal transformation and making a stance for what you believe in. So often, for both of you, the experiences of our childhood give us early lessons in life, including leadership lessons. So I just wanted to explore with you both what some of yours were. So again, starting with you, Jen, I guess you were an absolute model of best behavior as a teenager, yes or no?
No, I started doing drugs at age 12. I pretty much did everything I could to rebel against a situation I hated. And all of this culminated until I was 17, when I actually ended up being arrested. Down the corridor, I hear footsteps coming, and the door of my cell opens. And in walks this very tall, I remember being very tall policeman. And we sat like this, and he said, "Jen, you are worth so much more than this." And it's like those words just ricocheted through my whole being, and he stood up and he left. And I never saw that man ever again. And if I could, oh my God, what would I tell him? Because that moment really did change my life. It was an early lesson for me in leadership, which was I knew so much what it felt like to be out of integrity, and then to be given a second chance, and to be given that moment of truth from somebody who didn't even know me, to change my life.
And Euan, just like to explore a little bit about your childhood, because you went through a very sad loss in your life when you were very, very young. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I had a normal childhood with one notable exception, which was that my dad very irresponsibly chose to die on me when I was 4. My very first memory of that was walking into my grand's bedroom. And I remember crystal clear, my auntie said, "You're in charge now, you're the man of the house." I think she was trying to make that a good thing. But if you look back at my life every time from now, if you cut me open, the words personal responsibility would be cut large through it. And now, it's interesting, with having not had a father, a lot of what I hope I bring to the teams that I work with is that kind of fatherly kind of approach, which I didn't have myself, so I've been kind of learning and trialing as I've gone through life.
I mentioned earlier on that Genevieve was a whistleblower, and you were at that time working in an electronic supply company in Sheffield in Yorkshire.
Yeah,
and what was the circumstance that you had to whistleblow on? What was it all about?
So our team was responsible for the stock that went in and out of this warehouse.
What was the stock?
The stock belonged to our customer, which was Sky TV. I remember it clearly one afternoon, because I took my job very seriously at that point. I was walking through the warehouse with a clipboard, and it had all these locations of where we should have stock. And I'm looking up, and there's no pallet of stock. And I'm going to the next one, and there's nothing there, and it's empty again, or there's something else there. And I think, well, what's going on? So being naive, I guess, at that age, I start asking questions, to the warehouse manager. What's happening? It's like, oh, no. Fobs me off as being a young manager. No, it's just the system. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with the system? And over a period of weeks, discovered that the company I was working for had pretty much lost about £1 million worth of my customers' stock. All the things that started running through my head, to be honest, were very fear-based. So I'm thinking, well, I know what the right thing is to do. I think in these situations, we all know what the right thing is to do, but I've got a criminal record. If I tell something like this, I didn't think of it, I didn't even associate whistleblower, but I thought, well, no one's ever going to give me a job again because they don't want someone who's going to be there and release company secrets. And so I spent an agonizing 3 days just panic-stricken, really. On the morning of the 4th day, I woke up with this just stillness in me of still, my brain was still freaking out, but I just knew what I had to do. And I went into work really early, and I locked myself in the computer server cupboard, and I picked up my phone, and I called my colleague at Sky, and there was this shock on the other side of the phone. And I remember saying, wow, thanks, Jen. We're going to have a conversation, and we'll do everything we can to protect you. Unfortunately, in these situations, I think when you do the right thing, sometimes everything you feared starts to come true. So over the next period of weeks, that happened. So, I was forced with another decision of, well, at least I can sleep at night-ish. At least I know I've done the right thing by me. I'm just going to look for another job. And I thought, well, who's the one person who will give me a reference? Well, it might be my colleague at Sky, right? So I ring him up one day and say, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I just can't take this anymore. We'd seen each other once, I think, passing in the office when you'd come to visit the warehouse. So I knew who you were. And you said to me, Jen, we're so impressed with what you did. I want to create a job for you.
I don't know, it was a natural no-brainer. Most people, I think, would run away from a whistleblower. I chose to run towards. If you're trying to make sure that you've got somebody in your team that knows where every single set-top box with and lives with it passionately, the person that's prepared to put their entire career on the line because they have that principle is the person I need in my team.
So just to back up little bit, Jen, what made you conquer your fear in picking up that phone in the first place to do the right thing?
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I think sometimes you have to learn the hard lessons. And so I knew after being arrested when I was 17, I never wanted to feel that way ever again. Ever. I knew that wasn't me, and I knew so much what being out of integrity felt like. I knew I couldn't live with it anymore. So for me, even though I was feeling that fear, in a way, there was no choice. In a way, my heart said there's no choice. The things we fear are the things we most need to do. And ever since then, that has really become my motto. Fear can stand for false evidence appearing real.
So the ripple effect of all this, what have you learned in the time since then about integrity and intuition in leadership, both of you?
Integrity is not a one-stop decision. You choose to be a person of integrity. And actually, I think for me, integrity means wholeness. So quite often we will continue in the busyness of our lives, and yet things will definitely be wrong. Things will be going wrong either in our personal lives or our career, and we won't feel whole. So I looked outside and I just realized I'm in an uninspiring environment. I'm in a job that's killing me. I am in a relationship that I don't want to be in. And I had one of those moments where you're like, I thought I'd done all this. I thought I'd solved all of that back then. And it's like, really? Have I not learned this lesson again? And so I stormed into work the next Monday morning, and I was really fortunate to have a great boss at the time. I said, right, that's it, I'm not happy. And he said a beautiful thing. He said, great, so what do you want to do about it? I decided I'd go study psychology and philosophy, and I decided I'd start integrating that into my job and my relationship. I discovered very quickly my husband and I had very different values in life, but was able to have honest conversations with him about it. So we started down the road to divorce.
I too went through that moment where I realized that the home life that I created for myself was intuitively wrong. We had got married, I got married to another graduate at Unilever. It was the done thing. It was kind of the way that you went. We had the picket fence. We were on our way to the 2.4 children. I was driving the BMW. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, big hole. So as I got to be more intuitive and follow my intuition in the business world, I think it gave me the self-belief to also then transcend and move that into the rest of my life. It's working really well for us. The two children are more fantastic than I can ever tell you. I have a really good relationship with my ex-wife because we kept showing up for each other through all the bad stuff. We're still very, very close. My ex-wife and my partner will meet for croissant on Friday morning before my partner brings the children on a plane to visit me in Munich for the weekend. I tell people that, they don't believe me, but that's how we've managed to engineer it, because we've managed to create a difference, and I have now got this hole filled.
Having been on the journey so far, how are you both using the benefit of your experiences to really help other people now?
I think I'm much more intuitive. If a contract does not feel right in the first few seconds, it doesn't get done. I will really go deep and question it. And I think the other thing is what I'm trying to create now in corporates is a kind of umbrella, back to the personal responsibility and the fatherly thing, create an umbrella for the teams that report and to work with me, that they can have a kind of bunker from all the noise that goes on in any particular corporate, to make the mistakes, to do things a bit differently, to think a little bit more holistically about their lives. I mean, you know, as examples, I've run days for 100, 200 people about heart math and about how their heart works. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with delivering satellite television. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's 150, 200 people that walk out of that room with a different perspective and a different view on their lives, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to do.
I feel like I've been given so many gifts in my life that my job is to just simply share that. And so really I dedicate my entire business and organization to just being what I call a courage catalyst. Because I think for me, I see repeatedly people know what the right thing is to do. They know what the right thing is for them, and they know what the right thing is for those around them. And then on the biggest scale, what's the right thing that's going to move everyone forwards? The only thing that holds them back is the fear.
And you said about your new partner brings over your children to visit you in Munich.
She does.
And
they both love her for it.
So what does your new partner think of all this now?
You'd better ask her.
So for some of you would have known that, and it's been terribly hard keeping that secret. For those who didn't know that over the last few weeks, mainly because Mike and I are that honest, it's hard to tell that. Yes, after I moved out of the area, it so happened that one day when we were both in the thick of that divorce, we were coming back from Scotland, weren't we? And I ended up being sat the seat in front of Euan on the plane, and we start talking, and we discover, oh, this is happening to me, or this is happening to me, and I went, I'm learning psychology and philosophy, why don't I coach you? And you went, that sounds great.
Why don't you coach me over dinner?
And lo and behold, actually, I realized that really the man of my dreams had been under my nose for 5 years. Sometimes I think the lesson I take from this and keep taking from this is when you're faced with a decision, you never know what that gift is, you never know the ripple effect of it, and you never know how long that is going to keep paying back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jen and Euan.
Thank you.